What is up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys, I guess, depending on when you are watching this, having a great weekend or having a great week. We are back with another episode, a little different than what I've been doing the past couple of weeks. We have a special guest to join us this week, so I will let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her.
Hi everyone, it's me, Vicki Bunny. I am a YouTuber, a cosplayer, an artist, a dancer, um, a lot of things, and I make YouTube videos. I also love to dance in my free time, but most of all, YouTube videos is my favorite. I love to vlog. I love horror, cosplay. Um, I love going to conventions. I love shopping, and I'm that's all my life right there.
so I couldn't remember, but I was thinking about it earlier today. I was like, I feel like maybe I messaged you before asking you to come
Mhm.
on a while back. I
Mhm.
I was just thinking about. I was like, maybe I did, but then I was like, maybe not. Maybe I'm just crazy because like I have to. I message a lot of people to do this, and so it like at a certain point, people just start to run together that I end up forgetting like if I message that person or not.
Oh yeah, you messaged my Instagram. That's where you messaged. So I
Oh yeah,
replied,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, and I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a podcast. I've never been invited to a podcast, so I was like,
really.
huh, no. I think I've been interviewed at conventions,
Mhm.
and they just stopped me, and they're like these interviewers, like interviewing cosplayers, and they come up to me and they notice my cosplay. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get interviewed out of nowhere. So they asked me questions, and I really like stuff like that because I feel like podcasts can really show like yourself, and like you're able to like have this platform where you get to share your love and your passion and really get to show your heart in some sort of way. So I really like stuff like that. I actually watch some podcasts or like shorts on like TikTok and Instagram, and I'm like, wow, I never knew this side of um you know let's say a famous artist, right? And it's just like a whole different side of that person, and it just like, wow, that's very inspiring for me. So hopefully this podcast and this platform can have me like, share and inspire some people watching.
Okay. What got you into cosplaying?
I got oh wow, started way long time ago. I was like age 14 or 13, and I was really inspired by the internet when the internet just started to become a thing, right? And I was on Gaia Online, and my sisters went on Gaia Online. So we found out about this convention through this um online website where you get to dress your character, right? And it
Hmm.
was held very close by to me in San Jose. So we went to that for our first time. And then we discovered cosplay. So when I saw like cosplay for my first time right in front of me at a convention, I was just like, I wasn't in cosplay, by the way. Like me and my
Okay.
sisters just came there kind of just like in casual clothes, but it just shoot a spark in me, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." I felt like left out, I really wanted to dress up, and I love anime, and I love like, the characters when they're dressed up, and it just amazed me so much to see people in like character clothing. So I tried it myself. I made my cosplays. I think I started really making my cosplays when I was like around 13 or 14. I like sewed small ribbons, and then I tried to put on pieces together because it was like so expensive to actually buy your cosplays on eBay. And I did Misa Amane, I think, as one of my first cosplays. So I just basically used my natural hair, and then I tied two little, like the same hair that I have right now. I just did that and just wore like a black tank top, like a frilly skirt or something. And I just like sort of looked like Misa Amane. But it made me so happy. And so from then and from like years later, I went to cons for like, oh my gosh, like cons, oh my gosh, like, I think I've been going to cons for, like, 10 plus years now.
Oh.
Yeah. so far in, and I cosplayed a lot. I made my cosplays. So my first crazy handmade cosplay was my XNFE cosplay from Black Rock Shooter, and I was like 15 years old, so small and young, but I was so dedicated because I was like obsessed with the character, and I loved like her big arms, and she looked so badass, and I wanted to be that character. I wanted to be cool and like awesome. And it did make me feel super cool when I finished my cosplay, but it took me like 2 to 4 months to make. Took me a long time because I've never made cosplay ever in my life, never used tools, never like got materials. So I basically just like got inspiration online and then saw pictures and references and saw what other cosplayers were using for materials. And
Okay.
then um and then I just kind of did it myself, except that I kind of, what do you call it, like innovate, or kind of like improvised stuff when I didn't really know how to do things, because like tutorials weren't really a thing too much yet, and there wasn't much tutorials on like making cosplays at the time. So a lot of my cosplays at that time was made out of really cheap materials, and I would actually go to Costco, and I really liked mecha cosplay because all I would do is just like, attach to make a prop and not have to
Cool.
sew and like do all these other crazy things, and I hated sewing, so I would get like, yeah, like, and I would go to Costco to get like these free cardboard boxes, and they were super nice and flat, and they didn't have any folds, and I really liked the how the cardboard came out, so I used that and used it for my cosplay pieces. So I basically spent like very cheaply on cosplay. I would say overall, when I would finish a whole cosplay, it would cost me like up to $35 or $50 or so. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and that from the starting of my cosplay days to my beginner days to my more like experienced days, I would say I cosplayed to about 10 cosplays, 10 or like 15 cosplays, and I made quite a good amount. And I
Okay.
think my hardest cosplay I've ever made was, I think it was like that first cosplay that I mentioned to you, where I just started making cosplay. That was my hardest one, I think. I think because it took me 4 months, so I felt like that was the hardest one. But now I'm more experienced, and I get to know, I just have the skills in me, so could just make cosplay more easier now. I actually have a cosplay that I made within 2 weeks, and it was a mecha cosplay. And that cosplay is the Supersonico mecha form, and she like has these like huge mecha bikes behind her with like wheels, and I alter it to make it my own because like the actual Sonico reference, or the actual model, was super elaborate, and I didn't want to be like an elaborate mecha, so I just made it into like a backpack where I just put it on and walk around. And I made that within 2 weeks, but a lot of people liked it because it looked very elaborate, but for me, when I made it, it wasn't that hard at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yes.
How many cons do you typically go to each year? Because I know most of the guests that I've talked to, they
Mhm.
go. I guess it really depends on them themselves, but I think most go maybe 3, maybe 4 times a year,
Mhm.
just depending on like their schedule, whether they're working, they're in school. So it usually just depends. So what about you? How many cons do you typically go to each year?
Oh, yeah, so I've been, like, so from the beginning of when I went to cons, I would go to them for, like, once a year or so in the beginning, and then
Mhm.
later when I was experiencing cons, I would go to about, like, 1 to 2 to 3 cons a year, and my favorite cons that I would go to would be, like, FanimeCon, um, Anime Expo, and then when there would be, like, some other con that I kinda wanted to go to with, like, friends in my area, mostly in my area, it would be, like, some other, like, event or just a con. But nowadays I don't go as much anymore because it costs a lot, and I'm usually just like very into my career right now, my social media career. So I try to focus more into that than like trying to spend money on like cosplays and tickets for cons now. But I have so much experience now, and my next con that I'm planning to go to is with my friends and my sisters. Hopefully my other sister's gonna go, but there's this con coming up really soon, and it's LA. It's Anime Los Angeles, and it's another really cool con. And it used to take place in a hotel, but now it like became so much bigger that it like transferred over to like a bigger convention. And
Oh.
I really like the way it works. Like they have like these cute little badges that you can collect. Have you
Mhm.
heard of that? Those like stickers, and you get to show them
Yes.
off because like you go to each booth apparently, and you collect these stickers, and no other con does that. It's so unique, and it's gotten so popular that even like influencers go. And I always enjoy stuff like that, and like every time I go, there's people that that remember me because like they know I've been going to this stuff for so long, and they're just like, "Oh, are you that girl that," like, it's so crazy because whatever every time like I go to like a con, like
Mhm.
they know me for my cosplay, and they even remember me. And sometimes it's like it's sad, but sometimes I forget their name. And because it's like I don't know, that there was so many faces that said hi to me. Um,
Oh.
yeah.
Mm. Are there like any cons that are outside of where you live that you would want to go to one day?
Oh, outside of cons that I where I
Well,
want
like
to live.
outside of where you like the cons of where you live, are there any like in other states that you would want to go to and check out?
Oh, you what other cons outside of where I live?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've always wanted to go to what's that one con? It's really there's Dragon Con. I think that's somewhere else.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's there. Yeah, it looks fun, and it's all about like partying. So I thought I love to party. So I think the combination of like cosplay and partying is super fun. So I've been seeing it for years too. My friends go to it, and they see the coolest cosplays and the
Yeah.
most like creative cosplays there. And oh my gosh, there's one time where there was I think they were like camouflaged as the floor, but someone was cosplaying as a camouflage for the ground floors at Dragon Con. And I'm like, what? Like for Dragon Con, especially for Dragon Con. I'm like, wow, that's really random, but really smart and funny. There's that con I really want to go to, and then there is who? Oh, Katsukon. Katsukon I think is
Oh.
coming really soon and in February. Katsukon is the one that has like a um it's like really wide, and it's like
Mhm.
white, and it's super beautiful. I think it's beautiful, and I've always seen a lot of amazing cosplays that do it specially for Katsukon. And they dress up in just like this very decorative, classy looking costumes. And I'm like, wow, this is what the whole aesthetic of the scene is like, inspires people to like dress up a certain way. So it really inspired me to want to go one day.
Okay. Yeah, Dragon Con is like a 5-day con event.
Oh my
Uh
god.
oh yeah. Did you not know it was 5 days?
No, I had no idea it was 5 days.
Yeah, it
That's a
takes
little
place.
long.
Yeah, it takes place over Memorial Day weekend. So it's like that
Oh.
Thursday through that Sunday. Now, most people who go to that con are usually there. They have like it officially starts on Thursday, but that Wednesday, I think they have like a parade to get it kicked off and things like that in the hotel because it's like spread out amongst maybe 5 different hotels.
Oh my god.
Uh, and so it's
They
very
got
fun.
problems. I'm not
it
surprised.
the what?
I'm not really surprised that they have problems at Dragon Con because there's a lot of like party people.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think each night they do something different. I think either it's Friday night or Saturday night. That's where like majority. I guess technically you can party almost any night, but like the Dragon Con like party and stuff like that. I think it's either like on Friday night or Saturday night. And I haven't been. I've been to Dragon Con
Right.
twice, but I have never because um I live about I live from Dragon Con to where I live is about 2 hours away. And so
Wow.
typically like I'll go because a lot of the guests that I've had on the podcast, they go to
Yeah.
Dragon Con, so I'll go and see them. And then it's also the start of college football week, and so my attention is typically more geared towards college football than anything else. So usually I'm trying to go home because sometimes I go to the games, and so I try to make sure I have enough like rest so I can do all that. But yeah, it's very fun. There was there was like a group I saw the first year I went. There was like a group I saw. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's the
Mhm.
movie 300.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes, there was a group that was there, and this group maybe had like 20 or 30 people, and all of them were dressed as Spartans from that movie. And so a lot of yeah, very creative cosplays. Um, it's fun. It's very fun. You definitely need to go. We definitely need to try
Oh,
to
I do.
get you
And
there.
oh yeah, there's a lot of other cons I haven't been to yet. I still really want to go. I've been to Comic Con, but like way back, and it was super crowded. But that's also another con I really want to go to. I know it's really hectic, but I know it's there's a lot of cool stuff to see, really cool panels and artists there, and that's my favorite thing is to see like celebrities and see all that jazz. And I know there's more cons that I really want to go to, and there's one that I wanted to go to, but I missed out this year, and it was called Midsummer Scream. It's a horror con,
Oh,
which is a little different than like other cons I've been to in the past. But I've never been to like a horror con, and I thought it would be really cool to experience what it would be like to see like panels and booths and the merch and everything. And I don't know if you heard of Midsummer Scream, but it takes
yeah.
place in like LA. Yeah. And I think there was another con I really wanted to go to. Another really interesting con I think would be super cool to go to is to go to like Japan cons in
Oh.
Japan. I think they're a little more crazy too because they get so crowded. And I've seen pictures and videos of Comic Con, and it looks incredibly like crazy because there's so many people that go, and when there's
Mhm.
cosplayers, they get super bombarded, but they're also super polite with taking pictures, hopefully. But I don't know much about Japan. I know there's some things that go on in Japan, but the cosplayers there are so cute and they're so good at cosplaying there, and they also make their cosplays, which is something I never really thought about. But like materials in Japan, it'd be so interesting to know where the cosplayers go to find the materials and making their stuff. And I've seen like crazy mechs that were made there, and I sometimes I feel like the best cosplayers are in Japan because that's kind of like almost where it kind of started with
Oh,
cosplay.
hmm. Have you been to Japan? Did you tell me that or
Oh
I don't know?
yes, I've been to Japan. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
tell us about that trip. Tell us
Oh,
how
oh my
Japan went.
gosh. So I have this crazy first time story when I went to Japan. Um, how I got that trip. So I was on a TV show. I just happened to be on this TV show because
Oh.
yeah, yes. So a recruiter just randomly came to my like cosplay page, my really small cosplay page, and just messaged looking for like contestants to go on the show. So I was like, is this real? So she gave me her number and I called this number, and I was a little scared because I was thinking maybe it's like a scam. But she had said so much detail about like the venue and like the workers there and just like so many other details that made me feel like, okay, this is a thing. This is a thing. So I messaged and she gave me like tickets and stuff like that. So I was able to go, and I went and they sat us down in like the audience, and I just happened to be chosen as a contestant out of the blue. So it was like a blessing, and I got up and I got to meet Wayne Brady, the host of the show,
Okay.
and he asked me so many of these questions, and I was like, "Oh my god!" like I'm on TV, just like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna happen? So they let me play this game, and it's like choosing which curtain, or like what's behind the curtain. So they showed like three curtains,
Mhm.
and I stuck with the middle curtain. And when they opened it, it was like a free trip to Japan and $500 worth of like Sumiku Garashi um products.
Oh.
And oh my gosh, it was the coolest thing ever, and everyone was clapping, and I was still in shock, so I couldn't really believe it still. But yeah, and so I went to Japan and they let me bring one more person, and I brought my mom. So we both went together, and I thought my mom really deserved it, but it was her first time going to Japan too. And
Okay.
I know she was gonna really love Japan. And we both really enjoyed it. I got to experience so much of Japan. We only had like 7 days of
Oh.
Japan. So it was a lot of days for me. And the only thing we had to pay for was just like expenses. Like we didn't have to pay for the hotel stay and the flights. So that was a good thing. And we just basically roamed around all of Tokyo, not outside of Tokyo though, because it was like a little too far. And I kind of forced my mom to wake up like super early
My
because like
gosh.
I was like, Mom, we can't miss a day of like Tokyo, we gotta see everything. We're like here for only 7 days, and we didn't really have like good enough rest, but we did have some days of rest. But I was just like making sure we like check out everything I've ever dreamed of, because like Japan was always like my dream place since I was like super small. And we went to all the places that I really wanted to go to. We went to Akihabara, Shibuya, Harajuku. We got to see some shrines. I forgot what shrines they were. There was like the Nezu shrine. We got to see a lot of like the sentimental parts of Japan. Um, we got to go shopping. That was so nice, and I got to experience the food. It was super
Oh.
delicious. Yes, I love the food, and I feel like my favorite that I've ever ate food at Japan was like this omelet. They cooked like an omelet, or like they shaved like some cheese or something. It was delicious. I loved it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll
Thank
like
you.
I'll scroll on TikTok and I always come across like certain content creators I that
Mhm.
live in Japan, and there's like one that's always like, come get dinner with me at night, and she goes into like a 7-Eleven and she picks out all this stuff,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then there's one like he goes to like a ramen shop and it's like make your own ramen kind of thing. I was like, this is pretty cool. I originally was planning on going to Japan next year because Star Wars Celebration was going to be there this year
Oh,
in 2025, but I had some other things come up and I was like, you know what, that's fine. It's fine. But I do have
mhm.
two friends who are actually three. I have three friends who are guests on the podcast. They are going to Star Wars Celebration in Japan, so they are very excited. But like Japan has
Wow.
always been definitely it's on my bucket list of places to go for sure.
Oh, they are so into Star Wars. I didn't know they were, like, that into Star Wars where they have, like, a special event.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually Star Wars Celebration is like it's where like Disney
Mhm.
kind of like showcases like a lot of the new Star Wars stuff that is coming out in the next year, 2 years or so, and then but yeah, it's a full blown event. I think it's just like a 3 day event.
Mhm.
I don't think it goes longer than that. But like a Friday through a Sunday kind of thing. But it's wildly popular.
Wow. I know we had something like that in LA actually. We had like a Star Wars, I think it was for WonderCon, or there was some sort of special event going on in LA. It was all Star Wars. And now that you mentioned Japan having like a Star Wars, I think they have an anime. I never watched it yet, but they have like an anime. based off of
It-
Star Wars.
oh, really?
It's something like that, yeah, but I've never watched it yet.
Okay.
It's Japanese, apparently.
Okay. What what kind of anime are you like growing up? What was your favorite kind of anime that you like to watch?
Oh, I liked a lot of thriller animes. I liked watching Death Note. That was one of my favorite animes, and
Okay.
um I don't watch as much animes now because like I got so busy and it's just my interest kind of changed. So anime
Mm,
hasn't really been in the picture as much, but I still like watching animes that are super interesting. Like I actually started watching Demon Slayer and I still need to finish
okay.
season 2 now. And it's a one of my favorite animes at the moment. And um what's one of my favorite, I know I love like some movies that I've watched, like, I really like Spirited Away, and I
It's a good
love, like,
movie.
very artsy animes. Um,
Love Spirited Away.
yes, it's just so nostalgic, and it's beautiful, it's just, like, magical. Um, oh, what's one of my animes that
Because I
like
remember
watching?
growing
Yeah.
up, like it's pretty. I'm pretty much like basic old school when it comes to anime because like
Mhm.
I used to watch like Cartoon Network they would have Toonami that would have
Yes.
a lot of their animes. So I would watch like Inuyasha. That's like one of my favorites. Yu Yu Hakusho, Black Lagoon. Um, and so like growing up, I
Mhm.
wasn't full blown into anime, but those were like some shows that I liked growing up. And then movie wise, like Spirit Away is a movie I watched as a kid. There's a Kiki's Flying Delivery Service, I think it's what it's called.
Oh,
That's
yeah, I remember all those.
that's one of my favorites. Howl's Moving Castle. I haven't seen that one in quite a while, but that's also one of my favorites.
Oh.
Um, and so I'm like newer anime that's out now. I honestly cannot tell you the names of them, to be quite honest, because that's just there's just so
Oh,
much out there. I have thought about starting
there's
like
so much anime.
yeah, and, like I have thought about like diving into some newer anime just to see what it's like because I have a lot of friends who like One Piece, for instance. Uh,
Oh,
they
yeah, there's
they love
so
One
much
Piece.
episodes.
Yeah, that's a
Like,
lot. There are just so many. I'm just like, I don't have the patience just to like sit and watch all that. I mean, if I
all the
really
time.
dedicated myself, probably I will watch it. But it's like over 400 episodes, or no, it's over like over
Oh,
1,000
there's like,
episodes, I
oh my
think.
gosh. Yeah, so I heard the manga goes up to like 600 mangas or something like that.
Yeah,
600 episodes, 600 mangas. And I'm like, oh, I used to watch it so long time ago, but I just couldn't keep up with it.
me.
Um, um, but like I remember when anime was a thing way long time ago and it wasn't popular, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember me and my sisters, we would go shopping into, like, the movie stores and, like, the we had, like, some old libraries that had, manga, and I remember we got so obsessed because it was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is, like, the new thing, like, nobody knows about this," and there was, like, animes that we, anime DVDs that we bought and we first watched, like, our first animes, because, we went shopping at
Mhm.
these bookstores. We watched Trigun. Oh, that was one of my favorites. I really
Oh
liked
yeah.
Target, Trigun, and then I grew a crush to like Vash Stampede. One of my husbandos. Then we watched Cardcaptor Sakura, and then we had like Sailor Moon.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then we tried watching the Neon Genesis, some Neon
Okay.
Evangelion, and then I tried to understand that when I was super small, but I couldn't get it because we got like this one DVD, but I think it was like an episode where I forgot his name with like short hair. He was just there was just like different clones of him. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? It's so dramatic. So I was a little confusing when I was like smaller. And then I got my first manga book. It was called Mink Idol, and that's how I got into like idols and like J-pop idols.
Mm,
And I got so obsessed with like Lolita and dressing up as like a cute J-pop idol, and I was so into that when I first got into like the anime culture and like J-pop culture. And I actually had a different YouTube channel from Vicki Bunny before, and it was like it was called Aoi Katori, and I would post like all like my J-pop dancing there, and I was like super small when I started doing like YouTube videos. I was like 12 years old when I started, and I was so obsessed and influenced with J-pop. I would just like learn all these like Nika Nika Doga dances from like animes and Hatsune Miku and everything like that, and I would just like spend hours just learning these dances, and I would like practice it, and once I like perfected it, I would just like
Hmm.
wear like a cute outfit and like dance on dance online, and that was like the most funnest thing I've ever experienced. It was
Okay.
fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and then so you were also very much into horror.
Yes.
So,
Oh my gosh.
um, so what's your top three favorite horror movies that you've watched?
Oh, you're gonna ask me my favorite. Cause like, oh gosh, so that one's a little hard, I think, because I think I really liked a lot of horror movies, like ones that really interest me.
Mm,
Um, in the top of my head, this is not really a horror movie, but I thought it really made me happy in some sort of way. There's this feeling where you feel happy in the end of a horror movie, and it's like I like it when horror movies have like something positive. I don't know, it just gives me such a
really?
satisfying feeling. I know it's interesting, but most horror movies don't
Yeah.
have a happy ending. But it was World War Z. It's not
Mm,
really a horror movie, but that one
right.
was a good one. I just felt like when they, in the end of the movie, they found the solution to like the illness. It made me happy. I'm like, yeah.
Oh,
um, I went to horror nights, so
mhm.
I'm trying to remember some like of the movies that I like linked to the horror nights, but um, huh. Oh, it's weird because they're like thrillers that I really like. Like I really like. Oh shoot, what's that? Um, what's that movie where they can't talk, they can't make a noise? They can't make a noise. And they have like monsters roaming around, and they have to
Oh,
be
A
super
Quiet
quiet.
Place.
A Quiet Place. Oh, that one's really good. I love it. Like the first two was really good, but the third one wasn't really as I think I don't know how to use the word, but like clever. But the first two like were super super good and
Mm,
clever, and I was just like zoned into the movie, and I really like the characters a lot on that one. It
yeah.
freaked me out though because I would just be like not moving, like because I'm just like feeling what the characters are feeling in the movie, and I just like stand there.
I Yeah, because I'm me and my friend Jennifer, when that movie first came out, we went and saw it, and it was it was like really rough because obviously they're like, don't make sound, that kind of thing. And I had I had nachos, and so I was just kind of like, I was like, when it was quiet, I was like eating nachos, and my friend Jennifer looked at me because she could hear me chewing the nachos, and I was just like, oh, this is loud. And so whenever there's like a loud action sequence going on, I had to like quickly like eat nachos so I wouldn't like disturb anybody else. But like the beginning of that movie where the monster gets the kid, like it caught a lot of us off guard. I was not expecting something like that. And so it's it's a
Just
very,
careful not
very
to get
fun.
those
I
nachos
enjoyed it.
like splashed on
Yeah, exactly.
eventually.
Um, and then have you seen, see, I'm trying to think of some good horror movies that I've watched over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh have you
It's hard for me to
seen a movie?
like oh my gosh, because there's so
Have you
many
seen
good ones.
Sinister? Have you seen Sinister?
I haven't watched it for a long time, but I it's so weird because I binge watched a lot of horror movies with my
Okay.
family. 'cause that's where I really started my horror fandoms 'cause of my family.
Oh,
But I know for a fact, I know I've, like, watched it at some point. But
okay.
can you, like, bring it back for me?
It's basically like the family being stalked by like a boogeyman, kind of.
Oh!
Like
Oh, that sounds like
what,
Babadook.
what is his name? Is it Ethan Hawke? He's in it. I think
Mhm.
that's who it is. But like, he's like a writer, and he moves into a house that previously the previous family was murdered, and he finds like these movie reels, and it shows like kids killing their parents, and they're being like
Oh!
captured. They're like being taken and
You mean,
possessed by
like,
like a
little boys,
demon.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm it's bringing back some memories. It's really interesting. I love stuff like that. Like, I'm not able to, like, share the whole movie or, like, lay
Yeah.
it out, but I remember it being super good and just, like, zoning in because it's, like, the story and the plot story is, like, really good. I remember that one.
um I love the Conjuring movies.
Oh, yes. I think those were directed by an Asian guy. Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
I think he. Yeah.
Mhm.
They're working on the fourth one, or at least
Yeah.
like the last one in the franchise. But yeah, I love
Mhm.
those movies. They've always been one of my favorites. Um, I do love the Scream franchise.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Um,
yes. I I remember that one.
like right now, I'm not really all that excited for Scream 7, but
Wow.
I'll probably end up going to see it. So
Scream 7? Oh, that's all.
yeah,
Oh, there's a movie, oh gosh, okay, I'll mention some movies that really caught my attention, but it was
mm.
just disgusting, was, The Human Centipede.
Oh, you,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, it was gross, but I was like,
yeah. It's
"What is this?" It's
definitely not a
interesting.
pleasant movie to watch.
No, mm-mm. I haven't watched it, like, multiple times, but I've watched it just, like, once, and I'm like, "Okay, that's kinda interesting, but I'll watch it once." There's one movie that also really disgusted me, and it was the walrus or something like that. Walrus? Walrus?
Oh, I've heard of it, but I have not seen it.
Oh, it's gross. It's almost like The Human Centipede. It's this crazy doctor who's obsessed with walruses, and he
Ooh.
cuts up a guy, and yeah, that sounds really gross, and he pieces his skin together to form, like, this walrus, and he basically makes the walrus act like a walrus, and, ugh, it's watching it was really weird because it's supposed to be a horror movie, but the director added some really awkward comedy, funny
Oh,
comedy. I found it really funny though because I was just like, "There's comedy in this." It was just very random. It had this really weird, spooky feeling to it.
oh.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I can't think. It may be on Netflix, but it may be on Hulu. I can't remember where it's at now. But at the time when I watched it, there was a movie called Hush on
Oh,
Netflix,
yes,
and one of my favorites.
yes. Oh,
Um,
is that the girl where she's, like, stuck in the house? Oh, I love that
yeah, she's
movie.
like,
Yes.
I think she's like
Yeah.
deaf.
Mhm, mhm.
I can't remember if she can talk or not, but I know she
Yeah.
doesn't have any hearing, and it's a very suspenseful movie to watch.
Right,
Honestly,
right, right. Oh, that one's so good. Like that was one of the movies I should have mentioned, but that was one of my favorite movies too. I actually watched it like multiple times, but the ending is really good. That's why I also really liked it because she like stayed super strong throughout like the whole movie
yep.
and hella kicked that guy's ass. But I hate the parts when like her ex-husband died or something, and I
Oh,
was really upset with that part, but I mean, I she inspires me as a person, so even though it was like a horror movie, like her character was really my inspiration. Like I love that she never gave up and she was so smart and was able to like do stuff on her own. Oh, I would never want to be in that situation, but
oh,
yeah. I don't. Wow, like, like in the middle of the forest.
Uh, a good. I get it, it's a horror, but it's like also very suspenseful. But like
Mhm.
The Strangers is
The Singers.
yeah, very good movie. Came out in
Mhm.
2004 or five. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, what definitely top tier horror for sure.
Top tier.
I
Yeah.
think you would like it. Um, and then there's like two more, but they're not that great. But like the original, The Strangers is very very good to watch. It's about
Oh,
like
huh.
this couple like arrives at a house for the night after like attending a party or like a wedding or I can't remember which one it was, and like they're just stalked throughout the entire night by three people, and it's really good. Definitely give it a try.
I I I I can see by the title, Three Strangers or The Strangers, something.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, there's some strangers going on.
exactly.
That's what I'm expecting. I don't think I've watched it yet because I don't recognize the name. But I think I got into horror because like so yeah, my family experienced a lot of like supernatural in the Philippines. So like
Oh,
when they moved here, they just grew this like they still had their like horror I don't know how to describe, like they love gossiping, so they would talk about their like experiences from the Philippines and where they lived. It was really haunted. And when they had me and my sisters, they would just be like, "Oh yeah, let's go watch some like horror movies," and they would like we would watch all these horror movies together. There's something about horror that my family just really liked. I think it's because they related to like they just like supernatural things and like
right.
the whole like wonders of the supernatural and like what they've been through. So I just have nostalgia from hearing their stories of when they had some crazy ghost experiences, but they experienced like apparently Philippines, they have these like folklore um
Oh,
um they have a name, but they're just like akta. They have this one's hard to pronounce. Manganel. Like chupacabra, but we have a Filipino version, so
oh,
they experience
okay.
some weird stuff like that. But um, I grew up with like just loving horror from that, and I'm just like, oh wow, like horror is so interesting. But even though I don't like evil things, I don't
Mhm.
like, like, oh yeah, let's go kill like a chicken. No, I hate that. I think it's just like it's just super, super interesting to like learn about like the supernatural and the paranormal and like evil um and the feeling of like thrill and spookiness. There's just something like very interesting about it. So it really caught our interest with horror. So it just came to me, and yeah, I grew like a
um,
huge obsession.
when I was younger, I stayed the night at a friend's house, and uh, his I remember was I in middle school? No, I think I was a freshman in high school at this time, and we were just chilling in his room, we're just watching TV, playing video games, and his mom was just his mom was being a mom, and like she was just telling us about the house that they were living in because the house they were living in is the house that she grew up in, and she was talking about how I believe it was the room that we were in was the room that her mom had died or her mom's sister had died in
Oh.
years ago, and so freaked me out. But he was just kind of like, "Mom, stop being weird and just go away." so and so like a couple hours later, we're just sitting there watching TV. Like I'm chilling on the bed, he's chilling on the floor, and we're just sitting there watching TV, and just it's just quiet. And just out of nowhere, he just says, "Grandmother, can you please stop scratching my back?" And I looked over at him, really, really confused. And then like a few seconds later, he was just like, "Thank you." I was like, "Excuse me?" So
Grandma scratching your back.
And then there was nobody there. It was just us two.
Should have been like, "Thank you for scratching my back."
I know, it was just like I very much to say, I was very much terrified the rest of that night. I was like, I don't know if I want to go to sleep or
Oh.
not. This is
But you just only experienced the secondhand of experience of your brother,
yeah.
but you didn't
I
really
don't think
experience. Mhm.
I don't think I've ever actually experienced like
Mhm.
anything paranormal or anything like that. Like I've been to places that had paranormal activity. Like we have this thing where I live called Crybaby Bridge, and like the legend goes or the story goes that um the mother and her newborn, she took them and jumped off a bridge into the
Ooh.
river. And so part of the story is if you go park your car in the middle of the bridge, turn your lights off and be quiet, you can actually hear the sound of a baby crying in the distance. And so it's pretty wild. So
Did you hear it?
I did not. The time that I went, I did not. But like I've had friends tell us that like they've had weird experiences
Mhm.
when they went, and so it's kind of like maybe it's just not me then. Maybe it's just y'all. So
Okay, this is crazy because I believe in supernatural, but I've only experienced like one thing, and or what's interesting? I don't really count the others like supernatural experiences, but they
mhm,
are. But like I've experienced one really like supernatural thing that pretty much happened to me. So my uncle lived in this like Victorian house, but
mhm,
apparently it's there's been like things going on like supernatural that they're experiencing in that house. And I remember just like laying in the bed during the day. This is during the day. The door was open, the front door, and I'm just like walking down, like trying to go to the living room, but the door like slams with force. And I can tell it's just like a force. And I'm just like, I wasn't scared, but I was just like
mhm,
confused. But I noticed it like slammed. It wasn't like a normal like wind slam. Like that door doesn't do that. And I just went to the back to the bedroom, was just like, huh, I think I experienced something supernatural because I knew there was something going around that house because my uncle was already experiencing stuff. So I'm
mhm,
just like, is it happening to me? And I kind of went out to debunk like if it was like a windy day, but it wasn't a windy day. It was just
hmm,
like a sunny day, and it was during the day too. I would think stuff like that would happen at night. And so that was one of my experiences. And I had another weird experience that's really weird, and I don't know how to explain it. Like what they say, it's unexplainable.
right.
I went to a hotel with a really big hotel with like levels of floors, and it was like after Anime Expo, a convention. And me and my friend wanted to go to this rooftop party because they always have like these after parties after like Anime Expo, and it's like this huge party where everyone hangs out at the roof and plays DJ music and dances. So after we went hung out to the roof party, we want to go all the way down to the lobby floor. That was like the top floor, and then we're like trying to go back to the lobby floor. So this glass elevator that we go in, and it's like a glass elevator where you could like outlook the whole lobby area and you can see the bottom floor. And we click the lobby floor where we want to go to the like the main lobby. I look down the glass door and like, wee, me and my friend was like, he noticed it too, so he's noticing that we're like racing to the bottom floor, right? And we're like, wee, and we reached the bottom floor. I can tell because I could see the outside. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's the fountain, there's the little thing. So we head
Mhm,
out of the elevator, and we're still on the 13th or 13th floor or something like that. I think they had
hmm,
13th floor or 12th floor, but we were on the 12th floor, and we went to the lobby, right? But we were still on the same floor. And I till this day, I don't know what the hell that was. I was researching if it was, like, haunted or it was, like, something. I keep telling my friend about it, but he's, like, like, a skeptic, and he's
No.
just like, "Oh, no, I don't think it's," but I'm like, "Dude, didn't you remember, like, we saw through the freaking elevator. We saw through the glass door that we reached the lobby, and like still stayed like at the same floor. It was so confusing. I don't know how to explain that. Like, and I told my mom, and she explained to me like there's a thing in the Philippines where they call it it's a Filipino word,
Hmm.
but apparently there's this like supernatural thing that goes around in like the Philippines where people go in circles and
Oh.
you get stuck. You get stuck, but you keep coming back to the same place. They call it something in Filipino. But that's what my mom explained to me. She's like, I think you experienced something like supernatural. I'm like, yeah, I did. I can't forget that moment. And another like supernatural paranormal experience I experienced was like sleep paralysis.
Oh
You know,
gosh,
yeah.
yes. That's the worst.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the
Uh,
worst. It's the worst. I've had it multiple times,
yeah.
and it's so weird. So when I would be sleeping, you could feel, or I could feel like just something, just I don't know, like over my head, try
Yeah.
to have me stay there, and I would just freeze. I remember I woke up. As my eyes were open one time from waking up from a dream, and it was still like dark, but I can tell I can't move, but I can tell I'm like awake.
Hmm.
I saw in the corner of my room like this bat or like a small demon or something in the corner of like my room, and I saw it like glowing eyes. And I'm just like, I knew I was awake, but I saw it, and then like I prayed and it just vanished. And I'm just like, the freak? Like, yeah, but every time I have like sleep paralysis, like I would pray and it just like goes away. So like every time I still sometimes I would have little moments like that.
Hmm.
Like, but I know like life is like a spiritual battle. So you're always dealing, like fighting your demons, right?
Right.
With my experience with the sleep paralysis, I'm not like scared of it anymore because like every time I would like fight back, it would just vanish.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah.
yeah, 'cause I remember like it happened to me for the first time like a while back. I can't actually remember when, but it was just like middle of the night. Like I knew I was awake, but I couldn't move, and it felt like I had actual like hands holding me down, and
Oh.
it was like really really wild, and I was just like, I like no idea what that was. And
Mhm.
like I think I've heard of like sleep paralysis because like different like media and stuff like that. And I was just like, was that what that was? And then I was just like, okay. So,
Same, like, and after that, sometimes you're just, like, too in shock to even know it even just happened, like, even
yeah,
with me, I'm just like, move on," and then I just move on, but that when it happens, it's really scary, like,
yeah.
sometimes I could even hear my heart just, like, racing because I think I had one that was really bad one time. I had this was weird, but I can't remember the dreams. I had, like, 3 dreams or something, and I
Hmm.
would go back to sleep, and I would have, like, a sleep paralysis, and then I had another dream. It was weird, but,
Yeah, because
it didn't happen after that, thank gosh,
yeah, because
and
I
I hope it
like
doesn't happen again.
oh yeah,
I
and it was
Yeah,
just crazy because like the first time it
yeah.
happened, again, I don't know what's going on, but like I was like I knew I was like trying to call out for help, but
Mhm.
nothing was coming out. And so, and then just at a certain point, I was able to just like get control of my body again and just
Mhm.
like jump up. And I was just like, that's wild. That is insane. That's crazy.
You know, I've actually heard there is a study about sleep paralysis that it's pretty normal that a lot of people experienced it. At this point, like most percentage of people experienced like sleep paralysis. And I've also heard like people have had it worse, where
Mm.
some people can have it like reoccurring all the time. And
Uh,
I'm just like, that doesn't sound good. Like you wouldn't want to even go back to sleep.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
with that
No, I would just be
happening in
like,
your
you know
life.
what? We're just watching
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, just watch just watch TV all night.
Like, but like, what, like, it's not like a paranormal thing, but it was like really scary at the moment it happened. But like, one time we had my niece staying the night with us, and so she was probably maybe like seven, 7 or 8, and she was
Mhm.
like sleeping with my mom up in in my mom's room, and I'm asleep and everything, and like it's dark in my room. I don't remember if I used to have my door open or not, but like I'm just sleeping and just I just randomly wake up. I grab my phone and turn on my flashlight, and my niece was just standing there hovering over me on the side of the bed. And I was just like, what in the world? And then I was like, go back to bed. And then she like turned around, went back to
No.
bed. And then my mom told me, oh, she must have been sleepwalking because she used to sleepwalk. And so I was just
Oh,
like,
that's so scary.
yeah, like
I
because
can
I could tell
imagine.
something. Yeah, because I could tell like something wasn't right because I could like see her eyes like flickering back and forth. So I was just kind of like, "Are you awake?" I was like, "Go back to bed," and then she just turned
Oh,
around, and I got up and I followed her, turned around, went right back up to bed. And I was just like,
so weird.
"Yeah,
But you know what's weird about sleepwalking? Because that is a weird encounter. It's like, how does that even happen? Like you're half awake and you're asleep at the same time, but like how do you I guess like your brain kind of knows where they're at maybe sometimes. So I'm
mm,
thinking like, okay, maybe the brain just like automatically knows where it's at and
yeah,
just map out things. But it's always so weird because you're walking and going to places. Because one time I sleepwalked myself, and my sisters noticed one time, like, we were super small at the time, but this was so weird. This is a really weird story to bring up, but I remember this. So, I think I came out of the bed, but Lil, I think she was, like, awake, and she was like, "What the heck?" And I think she thought I was awake, but I was, like, running or walking to the door,
mhm,
um and I was apparently trying to be like, I don't want to get me out of here or something like that. And I was like shaking the doorknob, and then bam, I just fell to the floor. Even I kind of remember it because I woke up like, whoa, I felt that. Like I could feel my body like hit my face from the floor. And then my sister was like, "Are you okay?" And then my sister remembers because she keeps bringing up that story that I used to like sleepwalk, and I think this might be
yes,
I think I heard in a statistic too that like younger kids can sleepwalk apparently, but we us adults can't do it anymore. I don't
it's
remember sleepwalking at this age.
I don't think I ever sleepwalk. If I did, my
No,
mom has never told me about it, but I'm pretty sure I never did. So
yeah. Oh, that might be a little dangerous too because if you could hit anything. Thank gosh adults don't really sleepwalk, but
yeah,
you know, we're a little older now. We could like hit our heads and die really fast, you know.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Because there's also that saying like don't wake a sleepwalker. And so because they can like
mhm.
I think they can hurt themselves by like just being shocked
Oh,
awake and everything, and them not knowing where they're at. So I was like, okay, that's good to know if I ever have to
oh, that's a
deal
good
with.
idea.
And so that's wild. That is some crazy
Mhm,
stuff. I'm trying to think if there's any other like I love going to like I haven't no, I went last year. Yeah, I went last year. But
mhm.
like I love going to like horror haunted houses and stuff like that. We
Oh, yeah.
we have this thing here called Atrox, which is like
Mhm.
in a I think it's a warehouse. We have two different ones. We have Atrox, which is like in a old warehouse, and then we have Sloss Furnace, which is not around anymore. They kind of shut it down, but it was at an um old
Mhm.
ironworks plant. And
Mm,
so like what's it
huh?
called? Steel plant or steel mill. Maybe steel
No, you
mill is the
mean
word I want.
like the infrastructure? Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah, oh
what?
yeah.
Like
Yeah. The entire haunted attraction was in an abandoned factory for them basically.
oh!
And
Is
so
it it's haunted, right? Is it that one? It's haunted. Like the actual place is haunted.
No,
What I
not this. This was not. This one isn't.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
we when I was younger, we went to this haunted house for Atrox, where it's a big thing here in Alabama. It's like if you live near it, it's like one of Alabama's most famous haunted attractions that you can go to. And when we were younger, we went for my friend Zane's birthday party, and we were just hanging out because you got like these little tokens that had your group name on it. It had like you know blood, vial, organs, gore, whatever your group name was, and it was pretty cool. It was really fun because they had the original actress. I believe this is who it was. They had the original actress who played
Mhm.
Carrie. She was there, which was very very cool. Um, they were playing the Devil's Rejects, the movie, in like in the background for people to watch. But then it got kind of awkward and weird because there's like a sex scene in it, but they blackened the screen, but the sound was still there. And so it was just kind of like, oh, this is like really awkward. This is really weird. But we went and it was our turn. We got in line and they were like, you go into like this little room first, and they kind of go over the rules and things like that. They're not gonna touch you, da 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 da. And like while he was like reading us the rules, there was this guy dressed in like this werewolf costume. He like snuck up behind us. We didn't know he was there, and like he sniffed my friend Matt, and my friend Matt just like went completely insane, and it was fun. Um, then we go through it, very fun. Then we get to like this little swamp area, and we're all like huddled up on each other's shoulders and everything. And we're like looking at this woman because she's like dressed as a witch. She's like yelling at us to get out of her swamp and everything. And like
Get out.
while we were watching her, this guy with a chainsaw comes out the corner and like starts to attack us.
Oh,
Like my friend Jimmy, he lost his shoe. I ran into a wall, and it was just crazy. Very very fun night. He went back and got his shoe, but like it was a fun night.
sounds like a lot of chaos happened
It was
that day.
very much a lot of chaos. Very much a lot of chaos.
But
So
that's a lot of fun that you went with a group. That
yeah.
sounds like a lot of fun because when you go to like these haunted stuff, I went to horror nights with just like one friend, but I mean it was fun, you know.
Mhm.
Horror nights wasn't as scary in my opinion, but you know it's always fun to go to like horror houses and stuff like
Right.
that. Well, going with a group is makes it even more. I think sometimes even more scarier because your friends are kind of screaming. But yeah, like I never went to a lot of like house attractions, haunted, you know, like uh theme houses, or I mean, you know, like for
Yeah.
Halloween. I've only been to like a no, actually, I've only been to like horror nights and what I know of. But I haven't been to like those crazier ones. Like I know that there's some that you have to sign a waiver and
Oh.
oh, I think you've heard of those. Those are a
I
little
think yeah, I'm pretty I don't know if we still have it or not, but we had one that was a haunted hospital where the hospital like wasn't in use anymore. But like so what they did was like I think it was like $25 per person or something like that, but like you had to like sign a waiver for them to touch you and everything. But the
wow.
goal was you had to I think it was you had to like reach the top of the hospital without being captured, and then you could get your money back. And so like you're running through this abandoned hospital with like actors and actresses dressed up as monsters and stuff, and your goal is just to make it to the top of the roof in order to get your money back. So
You
it's
know what
fun.
they say, money back guaranteed. That's how you guarantee you get your
Exactly.
money.
Exactly. Um,
That sounds
there
like
was
an
actually
escape
one I
house.
read about
Yeah.
in Tennessee where I don't know if it's still active or not, but it was like really, really famous because, like,
Mhm.
again, you had to kind of like sign a waiver because they could do like bodily harm to you. I read
Oh,
where like one girl got like wrapped in chains and drug across the ground, and it was just like insane.
did
And
you say drugged?
that's not the word.
Yeah,
Not drug as in
like
like drugging
drag?
somebody, but like probably drag. Well, maybe drag's the
Oh
proper
my
term to
goodness.
use. But like, yeah, I get. Yeah, I probably could have like reworked that sentence
Oh my
uh to where
goodness.
like she was like being dragged across the ground, not drugged.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
probably
think I yeah, I there's houses like that, you know, with the waiver stuff, but I don't think they crossed the line of like drugging what I know of. But
yeah.
there, my gosh, there was there was one in San Diego. He's pretty popular, but he's super controversial. A lot of horror community people don't like him, but his
Yeah.
name is Mikami Manor or something like that, or his Mikami. You might know him, but he had his own like little uh house business that he would do at his own house, and he would have like people come in and he would do all these crazy stuff, you know, like physical stuff and really weird, make them eat
Oh
stuff.
wow.
But I think I heard he has I think there's people that complain about him because he there's other things that
Uh,
like yeah, it's super controversial.
mm,
But yeah, there's that, and then there's one that I know about, in NYC. They have this, this one's weird, but they do this. They have a waiver for this one too, and it's called Blackout. Have you heard of
mm,
that one?
mm.
It's another one of those waiver stuff, and this one's a little weird, but they they actually sexually touch you, and
Oh really? That's
it's really
crazy.
weird.
That is
I
weird.
can't believe that they have something like that. I don't know if they still have that. I think I heard they didn't they don't have that anymore, so yeah.
Yeah. Probably happened
Right.
to the wrong person, and it did not go
Yeah.
well. So I mean, even though you signed a waiver, but like even then, still,
Yeah,
yeah,
right,
that's
right.
crazy. I never heard of that.
No. I know we kind of have one, but it's not we have another, waiver haunted house, but I know it's not as bad as McKamey Manor and,
Hmm.
the Blackout one, but there's one that's still going on, it's still like a business. But it's like less like, "Ooh, yeah, physical and making you eat cockroaches," stuff like that. This one is like where they have like these balls like fall over you,
Hmm.
and you get like you don't get crushed in them, but they're like these air balls, and you basically drown in these like air balls. And I think that's kind of cool because I don't think it's gonna hurt you, you know. But I've seen it in like TikTok videos somewhere. I haven't really like seen a lot, but I know it's like going on as a business during like Halloween. And in a way, it seems more like something I would kind of try just to see
Hmm.
how well I could handle my fears. But who
Yeah.
knows? It looks not as bad on camera, but if I tried it, we'll see, like, kinda test myself, you know, "Hmm, maybe I'm tough," but I'll humble myself, you know? Yeah, we'll see.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. That is crazy. What something I've always wanted to do is go to New York, where I can't remember where it's actually called, but like, well, there's two. I've always wanted to go to Salem, Massachusetts during
Oh,
Halloween, and
oh,
then
yeah.
I've always wanted to go to the location that's technically Sleepy Hollow for I think it's in upstate New York is
Mhm.
where it's at, but that's something I've always wanted to go to during Halloween as well. So hopefully one day I get to go maybe. So
Oh, Sleepy Hollow? Is that
mhm.
from, what's Sleepy Hollow?
The Headless Horseman, Ichabod Crane.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah.
that's super interesting. Yeah, like they I know they have like a little museum or
Yeah.
in New York where they talk about the history of the Headless Horseman and
Mhm.
like, you know, before New York became a thing and like haunted haunts there. Those are super interesting.
Oh yeah.
I've yet to go to that too. And the Salem thing, that's my dream too. I actually every time Halloween and like fall happens and like just everything becomes super Halloweeny, it just like it's like it's like, oh, I wish I could see what it would be like in Salem because I know they have like the fall trees and it's spooky and it's like spooky season. And I've seen like influencers go to Salem and go there for like Halloween and
Oh, okay.
it looks so cool. Like they go into I know there's some movie places that took place in Salem too. Like movie locations.
Hocus Pocus.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could like go and actually see the house that was in
Mhm.
that movie. That's like a historical landmark. So yeah, it's a very good movie. I love that movie.
Yes, Hocus Pocus and they they had that one other movie. I think oh, it's just Hocus Pocus? I know there's another one. It's not Halloween Town, I think. No. No, it's not.
No, I don't. No, I don't think Halloween. No, I don't think it takes place around there.
No, no, no. Yeah, not maybe not that one. Yeah.
That's something. We definitely got to like get you to Alabama one year for Halloween, so we can take you to Atrox and let you experience it.
Is it that haunted house?
Yes.
Is it super scary? Like I don't what does it look like?
How
Yeah.
scared do you like to be?
I want to experience. I've never okay, like I've experienced horror nights and
Mm.
to me it wasn't that bad. Like but okay, here's the thing though, like, when you go to horror nights, it's in a theme park, so there's gonna be, like, a bunch of people, so the way they
Oh
have
yeah.
to, like,
Okay.
run it, they have to let these other people, like, be in front of you and behind you, so you're not really alone. So in a way, I think that was one of the reasons why I wasn't scared because, like, there was always, like, lines of people in front of me and behind me inside of
Oh.
the hut. But I know for a fact I feel like I would be so much scared if they weren't around. But in a way, I do think going to haunted houses is a good way to like condition you for the worst and to like kind of train yourself and kind of see how you can handle it. Like I think sometimes we should experience stuff like that so we can kind of like get used to it and face our fears. Like and it's normal to be scared too. Like but I also think it's because we're not really used to it. We don't come across like scary things all the time.
Mhm.
The unknown doesn't come to us like super often. It's like abnormal, but like I watch like ghost hunters on TV and they
Okay.
get used to it over time, like they go to these abandoned houses by themselves. They go in these scary, crazy haunted places where ghosts like do all these crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
later, I mean, they're still scared, but later down the run, like they kind of like understand what's going on and they know what's up, so they're less scared. So that's how I see haunted houses nowadays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you asked the question, so I don't think I answered the question. How scared would I want to be? So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, I really want to experience like the the ones that I know that are super scary, but not the one
Mhm.
with a waiver, but I've seen it like on TV once. I don't know if you heard of this TV show, but it was like live once long time ago when you would like wait for it to air. Um, is America's most scariest places, something like that, and they would show all these like haunted scare houses.
I think I've heard
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. I actually learned that there's specific houses where they really make it look super real, where they put
Hmm.
the time to like make it look like actual things. So I want to experience stuff like that. Like I heard there's like a level of haunted house and you have to go in at a certain age. I'm like, what? So those type of houses I want to experience. Yeah. So Aatrox, I'm gonna have to search that up.
Definitely, definitely. Very
Hmm.
fun. It's a very fun place for sure.
Hmm.
Um, all right, guys, that is where we will end this week's episode of the Nerd Talk podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed watching along. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. But for those who are watching, how can they follow and support you?
Yes, so I mean, I got a few social media platforms, and I usually like to use my YouTube. So YouTube is Vicky Bunny, Vickie, and Bunny, Bunny. I also have my Instagram, same thing, Vicky Bunny, and TikTok. I usually like to go on TikTok as well, and that's Vicky Bunny. So I will be on there. Make sure to leave a like or comment or like message me or anything like that if you have any questions. I don't mind, and I have a lot of skills in like cosplay and conventions and just anything in general. If you want to like ask a question, I would be so happy to answer. So yeah.
So definitely go and give her a follow, show some love and support. But guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. And we will see you in the next video. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah.